Hey, dreamers, welcome back to the Dream Stream. I am Yiskah Koock here with Dream Sister Ellen Ronis, and we're about to dig in to some of the juicy images we've had the past nights. Hi, Ellen.
Hi, Yiskah. Hi, everybody.
So, well, if you don't mind, I'd first like to start by asking a question of you. So, Ellen had COVID-19, and I was just curious if that affected your, remember I said your fever dreams? Did that affect your fever dreams? Is that what we're going to be hearing about?
Well, I would not say, my fever was so low. Most of
Okay.
it was like under 100, the whole time. So
Yeah.
it wasn't the worst case, it was like having a little mild, like a bad cold or a little mild flu.
Yes.
But I did actually have, like, maybe it could have been considered a fever dream because it had that like flavor to it. Even when I woke up, I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
So I did have some kind of a small dream, but a big dream.
Okay. Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry to keep interrupting. Did you get your sense of smell and taste back yet?
It's getting better. It's not completely here, but now I can smell, somebody just like cooked an egg in the kitchen, and I can smell my coffee, but still, there's still like a little bit of a veil. There's a little bit of a veil on the senses, but I can, I'm definitely tasting more, and I know it's coming back. So I feel confident about that. I was a little nervous for a while there.
I think that would be a very difficult.
It would be so difficult. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah.
You only have, the five senses, and then according to other a few more, but to lose any of them, it's like.
Yeah. Not fun. Not fun. But here I am.
What are you drinking?
This is just hot water with honey, because I still do have a cough, and so I will probably cough a little bit, that's a sort of annoying remaining thing that's going on. Like that. On cue.
Yeah, great to see you.
Really good to see you too.
Worried. I mean, I wasn't worried, but you're, so far away. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, I had a lot of support, and it was all good. I had friends bringing me special lung tea, and leaving it on my doorstep, and people bringing me soup, and so it was actually sweet. It made me realize like who's here for me,
Wonderful. Yeah.
And of course lots of people reaching out from the East Coast, so that was lovely too. Yeah. So and you said you also had a dream, like an image or a snippet, or not sure.
Yeah, it's in between an image and a snippet. It's really an image, but there's a little bit prior to the image that I wanted to explore with you. So that makes it more of a snippet.
Sure. Yeah. Do you want to go first? You want to talk about your dream?
Okay, this might be really short, and then you can have the floor.
Yeah, I mean, mine isn't that long either, but just,
Yeah. So I'm going to just read it. I know not to do that, but I just found it really so interesting. I am sleeping and look over at Puma. It's my cat. So the dream starts, I am sleeping. It's not, I've had dreams you know what? I'm just going to tell it like a story, and then I can expound on all this.
Okay.
So I am sleeping, and I look over at Puma, my black cat, and he has a purple mask on his face with also over the ears. And I wrote like a Batman mask. Batman doesn't actually have ears, but he has a mask with ears. Well, Puma has ears, and also his mask had ears. And it was purple. That's
yeah. Do you have any association with that, with like either Batman or the purple, the color?
Well, the purple for sure. It's always been my favorite color. When I was a kid, that was my favorite color. And then as you get older, you just love every single color. But and you know, my one thing, I don't really have an association to Batman other than knowing he's a superhero and saves lives. And so Puma having, you know, the Batman mask, I was thinking, well, he very much is like my emotional, what do they call that? Your emotional dog or your emotional
Support,
cat.
your emotional support cat.
He is my emotional support cat. I mean, he really is in so many ways.
Mhm.
And so, oh, here comes his sister, Baba. Just
Yeah,
on my hat.
I just saw her little face pop in.
Yeah. So that's those were my associations.
Mm. And how did you feel? How did you feel in the dream? How did you feel when you woke up?
I don't recall how I felt in the dream because I said I'm sleeping, and what I wanted to say about that is many dreams I have, I wake up and, you know, still dreaming, like then it has this lucid element
Mhm.
from a dream, but this one is I am sleeping, and so I guess there's a way that I don't think of it as a real, whatever that means, real, you know, or as a waking image, but a
So
dreaming image.
are you just for clarity, are you saying that you're wondering whether or not you were sort of in that lucid state
Um,
when you're telling the dream?
oh, that's if I'm getting like the fingers on my crown chakra. Have you had that? Like, woo,
Yeah, like tingly.
maybe. Okay, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So yeah, because I'm just trying to imagine, like, if
Never
in a
got
dream,
lucid.
like
though.
in the dream, you're saying, I'm sleeping,
Yes.
like you're telling the story. It's almost like how I'm experiencing it is like I'm hearing the story of the thing that's happening right now. Like, you know, I'm telling the
Oh,
story
yeah.
as it's happening, as if I'm telling somebody
In
like
real
this.
time.
Yeah, in real time. And I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
talking to myself
I
and
guess. I
right
guess
and
so.
processing,
Yeah.
and I'm telling what I'm saying, what I'm processing out loud as if I'm telling
Yes.
somebody. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Oh, that's interesting too, because you don't, or I didn't write it down or record it until I was awake. So I wanted, I just think I don't usually begin a dream account by saying I am sleeping and,
Yeah,
you know,
that is interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that is interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know what, yeah,
not really sure,
I don't
but
have like a hit on that.
sleeping is almost like more mystical things happen or magical things happen when we're asleep in the dream time. And so I guess I kind of put a patina on it, you know, I am sleeping, so magic is afoot or whatever.
Oh, okay, okay.
Puma has this purple. And to me, I think of purple as majestic. You know, I
Uh-huh.
think that it is a majestic color and worn by royalty, you know, for millennial, I think.
Hmm.
And yeah, and Puma's a pretty majestic cat.
Yeah. And do you have like a particular kind of relationship with Puma? I mean,
Yeah.
other than obviously you love your cat, but I mean, is there something like, I don't know,
Well,
I
I
guess.
think I told you and on this podcast the times I have MS, I'll remind our listeners. And sometimes when I get out of the shower, it's a dangerous thing for me because I have one of those toilet support things so that, you know, it's over my toilet so I can get up. But you have to have weight on both of the arms to get up, you know, steadily. But when I'm in the shower and I have a shower chair, but if I lean on one of the arms, because I'm not on the seat, the whole thing tips.
Oh my
And
God.
I didn't know what I was going to do. And I started like crying, complaining about it. I wasn't really crying. I was just whining, I guess. And Puma had been sitting on the wicker bench behind, you know, or to my right. He jumped onto the toilet seat and his great weight, he's a big guy, weighted it down enough that I was able to use that one side as a support.
Wow. So he kind of is your superpower in a way. He helps you. He helps you find your superpower.
Yes. Yeah. And he, my son said, well, what, did you ask him to go over there? And I said, honey, I didn't even think of it. Like, I couldn't even think of that. Like, oh, the weight of this big guy will hold down the sea. I didn't even think of it. It was all him. And I'm not saying he thought of it, but
Right.
he had like a sense of what would help.
Right. He just came in to kind of,
Yeah.
sort of see what was going on, where he could be useful. Not conscious thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know that animals
So
quite have that.
So fascinating. He
Yeah.
is useful.
Well, I like the idea of him wearing his Superman costume or Batman, whatever, his superhuman, his superpower,
Just enough.
costume.
I thought it was funny too, because like I said already, Batman wears it, but he doesn't actually have ears. It just, the mask makes ears. But in Puma's case, he actually has ears.
Right. And that's interesting that you pointed that, like that's meaningful. That's meaningful somehow to you. And can you say any more about that?
Well, all I can say about that is some years ago, after Halloween, I had bought a pair of ears, cat ears, and I had a thing where I absolutely needed to wear them. Like for a couple months after that Halloween, I needed to wear my black cat ears. Now, why? Why I needed to wear my black cat ears, I don't know. I actually don't. I connect with cat energy, and but I just, I actually haven't really explored that. Maybe I should.
I don't know, it just seems interesting. It's like a little interesting tidbit, like of the fact that like several times, even just now in reflecting the dream, you mentioned that. And so that's kind of something, there's something about that, maybe.
Sounds like Puma's more authentic than Batman.
It almost feels like that. Like well, Batman's just faking it because he's really just a man in a bat suit.
Right.
So
pretending
he's got ears, but Puma's really filling it out. He's actually filling it out. And his energy is filling out this superpower, superhuman thing. And I also get the sense, if I could just, my sense of it is something about like you connecting with the intuitive animal power. That if we were to look at the dream as you being all the pieces of the dream, right, then it's something about you reflecting that intuition, that knowledge, that ability to help, ability to be strong, all of that.
Oh, I like that. I really need that right now, because
I
don't always feel strong, and I
know.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it's, Halloween's coming up, so I don't know, maybe
it is. I know
something about
I have to get myself another pair of black ears.
Maybe you need a purple mask with ears.
Purple. Oh, could you imagine if you find anything like that?
Like a whole head mask with eyes.
And it seems like something that exists.
Probably somewhere. Sure, I'm sure. Who knows where?
Right.
What's that? There's that big costume shop in Kingston.
Yeah, right.
Columbia, whatever it's called.
Right. I think that was what it's called.
Yeah. I bet they have that.
Right.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe just embodying that like might make you realize like, oh, I feel a certain way when I put this mask on. Like, and maybe it's part of what the message is about the dream. Or maybe you could just imagine.
It seems like a nylon mask.
Like a what?
Nylon mask.
Nylon. It's funny, in my mind I was thinking rubber. I don't know why.
I don't.
You didn't say that. I just.
Yeah, that's in your version of the dream.
My version, it's rubber.
My version is nylon.
Yeah, well, and it's your dream, so we'll say nylon.
Okay.
But even if you don't actually have the mask, maybe it would be fun to, as a way to maybe re-enter or something, to just imagine donning this mask
Maybe I could draw it.
and just seeing what it feels like. What does
Yeah.
it feel like under here?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to do more work with that image.
Cool.
So please share yours.
Okay, let me see. Well, there's definitely one, but I want to see. I never can figure which one to do first. Oh, okay. So I'm going to do the one that I had when I was, kind of still in the middle of COVID.
Yes.
And so the dream is it feels like I'm in a barn, like a horse, and I'm pretty sure that that's a reflection on this show that I've been watching that's all about horses. So that I'm in a barn. Huh?
You've told us about that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, that I'm obsessed with and now I'm totally sick of and glad it's done.
Okay.
Because it's, oh gosh, it's got these like gentle Christian values. Like I kind of didn't get that about it until later, where I realized like, oh, nobody is actually kissing really on that. They just kind of
okay.
and there's not a lot of, it's just all very like, everyone always has the lesson to be learned, and the grandpa that always has the wise words, and I mean it's just like,
yeah.
But I loved all the horses, and anyway.
Yes.
So anyway, that aside,
Okay.
so we're in some kind of a horse stall, and I'm on the outside and this guy is on the inside, and he's pretty tall because the stall, the gate was pretty high. It was pretty high up. So I really only saw his head kind of from the neck up.
Okay.
And he had this very large head, sort of a big forehead with kind of light curly hair. He kind of reminded me of a character from the American version of The Office.
Okay.
I forget his name.
Dwight?
Yes, Dwight. Thank you. Yeah, he reminded me a little bit of him. And even in his personality, he was a little bit like, I want to say like high level, like spectrum-y, little aspy kind of.
Yes.
And he was sort of, his head was definitely larger than life with this big forehead. And he was his eyes were darting every which way, like couldn't, and it was making me dizzy. It actually physically made me dizzy. And I said to him, if you just look in my eyes, what did I say? You'll feel better. I think I just said, if you just look in my eyes, you'll feel better.
Yes.
And it was really like, I think I actually felt dizzy. Like, I think there was something also physiological going on in my kind of fevery sleep.
Yes.
That I was maybe feeling a little woozy.
Okay.
And because when I woke up, I actually felt a little woozy, and yeah, to me, that was it really felt very profound.
Yeah.
The way in which I can avoid, actual deep eye contact, like really looking into my own eyes even, and looking into somebody else's eyes to really see what's true, what's real, just the heart of it, no matter what else is going on around us. Yes. To just be able to kind of connect in that way.
And does that remind you of anything? Any like barn experience that you've had, or something you may have seen in that?
I mean, certainly the location, just like I said, reminded me
of
the horses, but interestingly, horses, when they're in a stall, they're not free, they're not, I mean, some horses like that, but some horses don't. So, and this guy, I don't know. Yeah, no, it didn't. I don't really know the connection, other than just that I think it was a sort of a waking life, like something that came through. But, and like I said, he reminded me of that character who is a little bit like that, even on the show. He's a little like aspy, and I don't know. I'm judging it as such, but and not
me, but I totally can see that now. I've never been a big office person. My older son and my younger son love The Office. That's their thing, you know.
Love that show. I mean, I loved it back in the day. I have whatever. I watched the whole thing pretty much all the way through. I thought
There's
this
a
was
podcast called Office Ladies. Do you know about that? It's
Mm-mm.
Pam and not Melinda, Dwight's girlfriend, the blonde girl.
Oh
Them
yeah.
two as a friends having conversations about different episodes. It's actually really fun. So I've listened to that probably more than I've seen
Oh,
the
that's
actual
fun.
episodes. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
so if this, may I offer, and if this is my dream, if this is my
absolutely.
dream, I have a sense that I am grounded. I have a sense that I'm grounded and I can help this person who's really ungrounded, scattering eyes, looking all around, that like focus on my eyes. And I also feel like it's me telling myself, like, focus on the sight that I have for grounding. You know, really it's about grounding for me. And as opposed to flittering. I don't know, that's not really a good word, but yeah, that I feel like, and did I know?
Avoiding. It felt like an avoided,
Oh,
like
yes.
but and not just, it was like extreme. It was like a terror. Like
Is
this
it
guy was terrified. He
a
was so terrified. And
sense of what he was terrified of?
if I kind of place him onto me, or make
Yeah.
it that's an aspect of me, I will say it's just terror of uh um what I will find if I stop, what I
Oh,
will find if I slow down, what I
okay.
will find if I stop and go inside. It's almost, and
Um,
I don't feel that right now,
right.
but I have felt that where I'm just moving quickly.
Yes.
I'm in terror of something that I think I need to control. So I move quickly to try to control it,
Yes.
whatever it is, make things happen, organize things, whatever, like move
Yes.
through the space really fast.
Yes.
And I lose my sense of what my gut is feeling, or
Yes.
my heart is feeling, what's true, what's really true.
Yes.
And so sometimes, I don't know, I think that I'm moving so fast that if I stop, I'm afraid of what I'll find. So that's just
Interesting.
my own inner process around that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that
Interesting.
there was something about that in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. May I
Yeah.
ask you a question?
Sure.
It's not about this dream. It's
Mhm.
about astrology.
Okay.
Are we in a Mercury retrograde right now?
Yes, I believe we are.
Oh my
I
God.
believe we are. Yeah.
There's something to explain what's going on.
Yeah. I mean, I know we definitely were very recently, and I'm not sure when it's going
Okay.
direct, but I think we're still in it, but I haven't, honestly, because I've been a little down. I haven't been
Yeah.
paying attention. So
It's,
kind of lost
I
track.
just was feeling very misunderstood.
Yes.
Like the opposite of what I meant. It was like the opposite,
Yeah.
and whereas I thought I was doing someone a favor and they feel like I was doing the opposite.
Hmm.
And whatever, but I think that, I don't know, I think there's problem with
No, I
communication.
think there are astrological things definitely going on, and
It's kind of a
yeah,
relief.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm noticing it too in subtle things, like my printer isn't working,
Okay.
and that, and I don't know if the printer is just broken or if it's just
Yeah.
it takes a break on Mercury retrograde. Things like that do happen, electronic things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just even our timing this morning, like we were supposed,
Yeah. Right.
whatever. I was
Yeah.
supposed to be here earlier than I was, just a little bit
So
whatever.
I therefore put on mascara. I was like, I don't need to.
Gave you a chance to get
And how much
prepared for the
longer do
public.
I need? Oh, I need mascara. Yeah.
There's
So
always another thing to do.
there's always another thing to do. There is. So, and now that was during your COVID experience. So
That
you were
was
feeling maybe also a little, what did you say? Not woozy, but like dizzy? Dizzy.
woozy is the word I use. Like, yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure I had a little bit of a fever,
Yeah.
and Yeah, it honestly, it felt like a message. Just felt like a message. It's like, just calm down. It's all going to be okay.
Yeah, just
You know, I think too, when I'm sick, which happens so rarely, like
yeah,
really,
you're
like
not
I don't think I've been sick. I mean, I've had like a surgery and other things, but I haven't been sick since I've been in New Mexico, like 4 years.
wonderful.
So, but when I am, it's almost like I get nervous because I'm like, oh my God, what is it? And I'm
Right.
very sensitive. So I think every little thing means something, you know? And I think the part of me was just saying like, hey, just look into my eyes. Like, it's going to be all right. You're a little sick and you're fine. And I got you. I got you.
I
It's
have
like,
a memory. I'm sorry, I hear you. Do you have a memory of the color of his eyes?
yes, actually,
Okay,
they were kind of a yellowish color.
well, that's fascinating. What does that mean to
Forgot
you?
about that. Like a golden color, like
Did it feel
almost.
like jaundice? Did it feel like
No, it just felt like a different color, like a
oh,
color that, you know, I have seen eyes that color, but not so very
I've
rarely.
seen cat eyes that color?
Yeah, cat eyes is
Cat
true.
has yellow eyes. I
It was
went,
sort of yellowish brown, you know, kind of.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
What made you ask that?
because I think that might be, telling. I think that might offer us some more clues.
Another little, yeah. That is kind of interesting. Like, who has those color eyes? Like a cat. You're right.
The cat,
A
right?
lion or
A
a tiger.
lion. One of my cats has green eyes, Bobcat, and Puma has yellow.
Well, I have green eyes too, and they do have a yellow, like if you look really close to the sun,
Oh,
they have a sort of a
right.
yellow ring around them. So maybe it was some version of my own eyes, you know. I don't know. It
Oh,
didn't seem like that exactly,
yeah.
um, but yeah, it felt like just a really significant message about like calming down, like just calm down. It's
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
grown up. I got this. Like, you know, well, I think because I have also been working on, I know this is feels whatever, no judgments, but
What have you been working
the
on?
inner child, you know, like that inner child
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you're
good.
recognizing how many times I go through the world with the child running the show. She's kick ass.
Yeah.
My little
Yeah.
girl is fucking kick ass. She has got it. She's got the energy. She can get shit done,
Yeah.
but she gets shit done because she's terrified that nobody has her back. And
Uh,
so I have been really recognizing that. And it's like, no, I am an adult. I can hold this little girl and say, I got this. You don't have to work so hard.
I have a dream about that, right? There was a little girl whose outstretched arms to you. Is that correct? Um, oh, and then
Don't
you didn't know if
remember.
it was a dog or a little girl.
I don't know. You often remember my dreams better than I
I
do.
know.
So I don't remember that, but
It's
you know,
I'll listen to some previous
yeah,
episode and
maybe.
I can remind you. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you had
But I
this.
feel like this dream was definitely had something to do with that. And,
Yeah, yes.
you know, and there is a lot going on right now, and, you know, thinking about moving and just, yeah, there's just a lot going on. So,
And what are you thinking of? What
just, you know, I just moving out of
the sense of, oh, okay. Yeah.
my space. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's not happening, but it's just beginning. I'm beginning the
Yeah.
process of like feeling like it's time, you know, to just talk
Yeah.
about being a grown up and like being on my own and being, you know, having my own space and having my own
Yeah.
privacy and, you know, just, yeah, I don't want to say too much about it because you know,
Exactly.
privacy issues. So, yeah, but anyway, I'm excited about that, but also scared. And I just know that all of it, that dream, that little snippet, just feels like it has to do with all of that. It has
Okay.
to do with all of that and things that are getting kicked up, and that really like important message of like, just look into my eyes. It's
Yes.
just focus,
Yes.
focus right here, right now, into my
Yeah.
eyes.
I feel like
Take a
it's
breath.
also saying something about like sight, like visionary sight. That
Mm,
anything with the eyes, I see and there's a sight, and it's like I'm holding the vision. You just need to look into my eyes. I'm holding the vision. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm curious what your second dream will be, and if it will.
Yeah, so the second dream was a little less clear, and it was just this morning. So
Okay.
my brother and I were kind of sitting or laying on these lounge chairs, kind of opposite from each other, like, like lounge chairs were next to each other, but the head was at one end and
Oh,
our head was
nice.
so we're like seeing each other, we could look at each other.
Yes.
And he said something like, oh yeah, I tried being with men. I thought I was gonna be with men, or I thought I should be with men, which is so not him at all. Not to my knowledge.
Great.
Right, at all.
Huh.
But he said, he said something like, but because something about the smoothness of a man, like when a man has this is so crazy, when a man is like well worked out and his chest is really kind of puffed up, almost like breasts, but not really. It's just that sort of strong pectoral muscles. He's like, made some comment about that, like, yeah, because I kind of liked that or something like that. But he said, but no, it's not for me like that. And then I said back to him, oh yeah, I thought I would be with women, but no, it's not for me.
That's so interesting.
The dream.
That's the dream.
Yeah. And my brother, just to say, for whatever this is worth, and it's worth it to mention for me, is that his birthday is the same day as mine, and we're both we're Geminis, so we call each other Gemini twins, and so there is this kind of twinsy thing about us always, like, I think in a certain way, that there's a very similar psyche, similar.
June, when's your birthday? June
May 26th.
Oh, right, you're a May Gemini.
The beginning of Gemini. Yeah. So yeah, it's just sort of interesting, the opposites, the Gemini twins, the opposites, male, female, the exploring, being with men, being with women.
Yes.
And there wasn't a lot of like meat to it. There wasn't a lot of juice to it. It wasn't like lascivious, kind of dream. It's just like a thought. Oh yeah, I thought I would, maybe go with men, but no, kind of like that. Isn't that weird?
This is a real invitation to explore feminine and masculine ideals, and what is we've talked about this a bunch of times. What are masculine ways of doing things? Well, it's like the arrow, it's straightforward, or more linear, and the feminine more circular, and so
I mean, that is kind of interesting. And I do tend to, there are so many ways to explore dreams, right? But I do tend towards the sort of, not Jungian necessarily, but the gestalt, like that I'm maybe each person or part of the dream is some piece of my own psyche. On the psychological realm, that works for me.
I also really like that.
Yeah. So if I look at it that way, and my brother is like my intimate, right? He's like my intimate masculine in a way.
Yes. My what would that be? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank.
And the animus.
The animus and the anima. So that's the animus.
Right. Well, the anima is the feminine essence in the masculine.
Exactly. And the animus, similarly, the masculine within the feminine. So that's fascinating. That's really so interesting. And if I might take a moment and say, it was just my mom's yard site. A yard site is anniversary of death.
Oh, yeah.
26 years.
Wow.
And I discovered that even though I haven't known her since I was 25, I love her as much as ever. I love her so much. We say, of course, but I guess I do know this, but we hold on to the love that we have, that we felt, and that never dies. So I still absolutely love her, even though I only knew her under 25, years old. And then I was watching the movie Ghost, with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. And he says to her at the end, he's like, Molly, it's the most beautiful thing. The love you feel, you take with you.
Mhm.
So not only do spirits, according to, Patrick Swayze, take that love with them into other realms, but even when we had that love for someone who passed on so long ago, we still carry that love in ourselves. And that feels just amazing to me.
Totally. I'm so glad that you're having that experience. And I really do believe that, like, love doesn't die.
Love
Like,
doesn't
the
die.
love you have for somebody, just how could that
You take
not
it
be
with
there, right?
Yeah.
Unless you've been betrayed or you've been hurt
And
or
there's a
whatever.
million reasons why one might not feel that way.
Right. But if you
In
felt
this
love,
circumstance, I feel that way.
yeah, if you felt love and then that relationship ended for whatever reason,
Yes.
love is, where does that go? It's just, it's in your own heart.
It
It's in
doesn't
your own. So
go, doesn't go far.
yeah. And I, for one, am happy that you still have that love in your heart for your
Thank
mom.
you. Thank
That's
you.
a beautiful thing.
And of course I knew that, but it was just made more conscious for me.
Well, it sounds like you're really feeling it. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's like, how can 26 years have gone by without my mom? And it's like,
Right.
but I mean, I don't pretend to know the, spiritual worlds, but it's almost as if nothing has changed. She was so present with me in my childhood and early adulthood that that I can't really feel the absence of her. The absence. I don't feel the absence of her. I feel the love I had for her.
Mhm.
It's a very nice thing.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I think I feel that about my dad too. It's funny because my dad and I had a pretty not contentious. I mean, out of all the three children, I was the one who got along best with him in a way, but he was not an easy person in a lot of ways. He really was not into emotions.
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do with the emotional world. And wow, he had the wrong children for that. I'll say that. Or maybe exactly the right children.
Were you and your brother very emotional?
Well, I certainly was, and my sister certainly is. And my brother was like less. I think he was a little more withdrawn, but we all have whatever. Yeah, we all had our sort of a irrational side, and my dad was very, practical and rational, and didn't understand the big drama of emotion. But and maybe we just remember what we want to remember. We remember the good things. I mean, I remember the not good things too, but my heart remembers the good. Like, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I just will never not love him. Like, he's my dad, for whatever the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Sure.
So my heart remembers the love, even though, yeah, that's good. It's a thing. Yeah. I feel grateful for that.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So it just makes me realize how real love is.
Right.
A real thing. Love is real.
It's real. It's like it's almost a tangible thing. It's like an actual
It withstands death and it withstands loss.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Here's a riddle. What can withstand death and loss? Answer is
love. The answer is
right.
Yeah.
So, and you're saying you're feeling much better now. Super good.
I am feeling much better. Still have a couple of remaining little things, but
yes,
definitely 95%. Yeah. Happy to feel now that I have super immunity, at least for a short while. They don't know how long the antibodies actually last in your system, but and mine, by the way, for whatever it's worth, was a breakthrough. I did have the Pfizer vaccine, and they do say that most of the breakthrough infections are coming through the Pfizer vaccine.
Yes,
the Pfizer vaccine.
Because I when I myself and others received vaccines, the people who got Pfizer had much less of a reaction to the people who had Moderna. So I guess the Moderna is more,
Yeah.
works better.
Well, my choice, I actually had a choice and I chose Pfizer because of that. I was like, yeah, well, if it supposedly works just as well, because at the time they didn't really know. They
Right.
didn't know one had less efficacy, at least
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Right.
And so, but it makes sense. If your body is having a much stronger reaction
Yeah.
to it, it means it's probably working better.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
okay, live and learn.
Exactly.
Now
True.
we know.
Now we know.
It's a crazy world, and this is just it. It's just sort of ongoing and
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Whatever.
I hate that expression. Whatever. But it sort of feels like that. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just going on. And I think eventually it will wear itself out and there'll be, there are starting to be not cures, but things you can do when you get it. For example, monoclonal antibody infusion, which I almost got, but I was getting better, so I decided not to. But it lessens your symptoms, and it's something that you just go to the hospital and they just do it there. Usually it's free or your insurance covers, and it's an injection into your veins.
Isn't there also a pill now? Moderna, that company, I'm not sure who makes Moderna, but is making out also a pill for people who get COVID.
Oh, I knew that was going to start to happen, though. Yeah, I knew that was going to has to happen. Otherwise, we're going to be fearful, for the rest of our lives and be having to wear masks and stuff. It's like,
I feel like I like to wear a mask around people now. I don't know this.
I do. I have been. I only didn't wear a mask. So there's a very short period where everybody was like, okay, I think this is kind of like going away, and everybody kind of took the masks off. And then
that's when you got COVID.
And no, it isn't. That isn't when I got COVID. I just got it. So we're already long-term back into the masks for months now. Okay. So, but still, now I just feel like, I'm even still wearing a mask in the house just because I think everyone feels, people, it's a weird thing having COVID, especially in a household. You become like a leper.
A pariah.
People are do not want to have anything to do with you. They're like mad at you because you got it. They're mad at you because it makes them afraid. And it's just such a difficult position. I know it's not personal, but it's no fun. I don't wish it on anyone, but anyway, we digress.
But so if you have any more dream related things to speak of, we can do that. And if not, perhaps again, we should end this early because I think our listeners appreciate that.
Well, if they appreciate that, then I think that's what we should do. I do have another dream, but it was from some time ago and we can do it another time.
How about we hear it?
Hear it? Okay.
And then if anything pops out quickly, and then
maybe just a quick little what's your hit?
15-minute,
sounds great. Okay. This dream I had was on early morning Yom Kippur.
Okay.
So that was a month or so ago. My friend Dara, my very, very close friend, and I are in the middle of an ocean on a stretched out tarp. Then we're on land at a type of party, and I'm eating something like a delicious salad. And I say, I'm really wanting to devour life, like finally really live. Like death of loved ones made me feel like I really want to live. Then we were back in the ocean, but our tarp was sagging and sinking in the middle, below, like a little below the ocean, the
water level.
The top level of the ocean. It started to sink in a little bit rather than being on the top nice and tight, and it was holding us up. Now it was kind of it wasn't going all the way under, but we were sort of like underwater a little bit, still being supported, but underwater. It was the feeling that I had, I wrote, was like, it was like this type of support wasn't working anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at first the tarp is almost like a float.
It's almost acting like a float, as if it was, like pulled. You know how a tarp has the little rings on the edges, and it's being, like either has spikes in it or something is pulling it
over a tent
Yes, yes. But somehow it's in the ocean, and I don't know how it's being pulled taut, but it is being pulled taut, and we're sort of there on the ocean. And, and then we go back onto the land, and we're at a party, and I'm like wanting to devour. The salad was so delicious, and I'm kind of having this feeling of, God, I just want to devour life.
Yeah, salad, so much life. If it's fresh, if it's like recently
right
vegetables from your garden, that's like eating life.
Totally.
I love garden food.
Fresh
right away. It's
totally the best. Nothing like picking your vegetables and eating them like that.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. And I guess ocean, kind of typically signify in dream world symbology can signify the mother or the emotional life, the emotional world. And if it means the emotional world to me, which it kind of does, sometimes it feels like that, then it's like, okay, me and my friend, have a certain relationship, and we're kind of being supported on this thing, like sort of staying on the surface a little bit, right? We're not really sinking deep into the emotion. We're not really sinking deep into the soul, the mama of it, and I don't know. And then we begin to, like I say, wow, this is great. I want to devour life. I want to eat this fresh salad and, really live. And then we somehow go back in to something that is familiar to us, but it's not, suddenly we're like
deeper down into
another level deeper. Yeah. I mean, there's also a lot of like I want to say realism, like the way I can relate to my real waking world with her also is that we are, I think, wanting to, at least, if not actually, sinking deeper with one another, within ourselves, within our own inner process, and the way we are with one another. We have a lot of very similar psyche. We have very similar things. And sometimes it's not always good bouncing off of each other in that way, because we're reflecting the difficult things, but instead of like somebody having a different perspective and being able to say, okay, I see what you're going through, but let me show you something different. We sort of reflect back the same things towards each other. So sometimes it's wonderful, and sometimes it's like, I need something different.
What was the teaching in the dream? I don't need something of support right now. When we were in that the support was no longer working. That particular type of support isn't working anymore. Right. So what does that mean to you? I mean,
I don't know if it means her person, because she's like one of my best friends. So that doesn't feel like
no, I don't feel like it means her. I think it might have something to do with the housing situation that you are.
Oh, maybe. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Very possible. Very possible.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I want to ask you to do, if you are so inclined, is to find a way to honor this dream. And I wonder what you'll do, what you'll choose.
Honor this dream. I feel like I want to write. I've been doing this writing class, and I feel like I want to write about it, like make it like a little bit of a story, and maybe do some details like about what did the water feel like, and what did I imagine was underneath the tarp, and like kind of go into it like that a little bit.
What was in the salad?
What was it? And why? I mean, I love salad. I have a salad every single day of my life, basically, a giant salad. I'm known for it. People make fun of me about my big giant salads. Everyone I've ever lived with.
You may have you tried balsamic paste? Oh my God.
I have a balsamic, it's not really a paste, but it's like a syrup.
Oh, paste is the wrong word. Like a thicker
syrup. Yes. Yep. So delicious. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I
like putting like a little olive oil and then the paste, not the paste, the thicker balsamic.
The syrup. It's like a syrup. Yeah. Amazing. That's kind of exactly how I like my salad, with a little salt and a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Ooh.
And that's it. And I have it like that every single day.
Okay. Oh,
Just
wonderful.
because I love it. My
Yeah.
body loves it and I love it. Anyway, but yeah, like all of those details. My battery is running low, just to say. I don't want to get
Okay.
cut off, but yeah, I think there's some more exploration there, and I think I
Yes.
might like to write about it. I'm trying to be a little more disciplined with writing.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, if you don't mind, I'd love to read the story
okay.
and you ever write it.
When and if I ever write it, I will be happy to read it.
Oh,
Yeah.
good. Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Ellen.
Thanks.
Always,
Thanks for listening.
always a pleasure to
Yeah.
hang with you.
Yeah. A pleasure for me too. And much love to your mama's soul,
Oh,
to your heart love for your mama.
heart love and heart love to you and your dad and all your relations in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listeners, thank you as always for joining us on this exploration. And we wish you sweet dreams. Holomod metukin.
Sweet dreams to all.